Alright folks, it's David back again with another video. Welcome back to the channel. Hey! And it is now this, what is it, the 16th? I think it was the 15th when I went into this place. But now it's after midnight and I'm leaving the Grand Santikos, the Grand Theater in D'Iberville, Mississippi. Just saw The Bride, and I have never wanted to walk out of a movie more during the very first part of the movie than this one. I was just like, man, how awful was that? Not the whole movie, only because I hung in there, and truly it took some hanging in there. This movie did. Whoa, what a stinker. And again, I only say that because there's all the feminist imagery. You might be thinking, well, David, why in the world did you see it? Well, I only really caught on to that from the reviews. Didn't even really read a review. I just started to read them. Like, oh, well, it makes sense with what imagery is there. But I'm like, come on, Christian Bale. I can hang in there for the Bale. Maybe the Bale, the Christian Bale, can save this movie. He can do that. And really, he's gotta be. If there is a redeeming quality, it is Christian Bale's performance. It's frank, but it's just with what he's got to work with. It's like, Adam Sandler made that really neat little rom-com comedy with Drew Barrymore years ago called 50 First Dates, where she's got amnesia, like super, like daily, recurring, resetting memory, where he gets to know her, like they go on a date, like they're falling in love, but then the next day she doesn't remember anything, especially him, and so it ends up being kind of a heartwarming story as a romantic comedy movie. Well, this movie, The Bride, she obviously doesn't remember anything. She's like Frankenstein, but the woman version, and so she's having to like learn who she was. And the thing that jarred me so bad about this movie, and I was thinking about it like for 30 minutes, I was thinking this movie just did not start out well. It starts out with narration being done by the lady. It's depicted as the lady who wrote Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, and this woman who I thought was the same woman who was playing the bride. I'll go verify that when I get home, but it's just the voice was similar, the face, something about it. Anyways, it starts out with a possession. She's just taken over because somehow from the nether or whatever, she has the power to possess people. And so she takes over this young woman who's a put upon strumpet whore, whatever you call these women, the escort, prostitute, whatever. And she's got a kind of a mixed up life. She's involved with people she shouldn't, and it's just utter debauchery starting out in this movie at the start in the club, and you don't realize it's gangsters that she's having to fall all over and please and act dirty and nasty around, until later on in the movie you realize, oh, well, they're with the mob. You're thinking, well, I guess they're just a couple of dirty dogs, a couple of businessmen, tycoon, whatever, just acting and engaging in debauchery at some club or something. It's right there at the very beginning of the movie that the narration voice, Mary or whatever, takes her over. Ida takes Ida over, and she starts up with the like a possessed. She's talking like someone who she's not, and the person who she's not is a, what is it, 17th or 18th or 19th century wordsmith from England. And so the accent is there, and all these somewhat poetic, I guess, literary things are coming across in what she's saying, trying to speak against the man in the present, her present oppressors, in the language of a couple of centuries ago. And it came off as so irritating, so jarring, so unforgivable. I'm like, she's not making the acting is kind of there, but I can't understand what in the world is being said. And it was happening so quickly. She's being dared by the mobster guy to, can I get a yes? Can I get a yes? The feminist stuff starts up right away, like, woman, do as you're told, that kind of thing. He wanted her to eat an oyster, and oysters are so disgusting. I'm just saying, for my opinion. She didn't want it, and she's like, I'd rather not. And he's like, can I get a yes? Can I get a yes? And of course, it had to be this Italiano mobster passive-aggressive voice with a guy's expression. Can I get a yes? It was so repugnant. It was so bad. And she's trying to be her normal self, Ida, but then bopping back into possessed Mary or whatever, and it wasn't making any sense. I hated the first 5 minutes of this movie, and I'm like, we got no setup with this woman, and this is so irritating. What is happening? They just threw us into this thing at the beginning with her, and it's like, I don't feel anything for her. I don't know anything about her. I only know that this accent and this incoherent, garbled English tart, whatever, mouthing off with an accent and in a poetic gesturing. It was so horrible. I was like, man, this is just awful. But then Christian Bale's Frank comes onto the scene, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This guy, he was endearing, especially at the beginning. Unfortunately, it's inconsistent because this movie is made by a woman and women and feminists all, and so Frank is just kind of a plaything. You want to feel for him at first, but because of what he's trying to adapt to, the bride who he wanted, because he's dying literally. It's like they depict it like he's dying of loneliness, and so he wanted his bride. He convinces the scientist woman who has feminist written all over her. She had kind of a neat ending only in the last 30 seconds of the movie, because it ends so horribly, but then it's like she brings them back to life again, and then they play nothing else but Monster Mash at the end, and I'm like, oh great, what an ending to this movie. And yes, I kid you not, there's a young couple, I don't know if they're married or if they're dating, whatever, who sat several rows in front of me. As we're walking out, I can hear them behind me, and she's like, did you not get any of the messaging? I think he said like no, or whatever, the obvious messages they were sending in the movie. And she said, you're such a something or other. I don't know what word she called him, kind of playfully, but then she just said, this just was not a movie for men. And to that he said, yeah, you got that right, because you got the trope of the detective who's that actor who I kind of like him in some of the things I've seen him, but I haven't seen him in anything in a while, given the woman who in real life had a tryst with Tom Cruise. That's all I really know her for, other than I liked her in Sahara. Passing on the badge to him like, you're the detective now, I believe in you. The cops don't want to do what she says. They don't want to acknowledge she's a detective. It was just that on steroids in this movie. And one of the most painful things is when I'm watching this. I'm sorry. This is going to be a rant. It is, because I just can't help it. I wanted to go ahead and leave and get an early start home. I'm just desperate to find a good, decent movie. I have confidence that... can't think, his name is escaping me now, but it's Hail Mary, Ryan Gosling. I have confidence that movie is going to be good. If I watch the Super Mario Brothers Universe movie, I'm sure that'll be good. And get this, I know I'm talking about other stuff than this movie, than The Bride, but what can you expect at this point? I'm going to take a little side road and mention that there's something coming out called Back Rooms. I haven't watched a lot of those videos, but I know what that's about, sort of. I was thinking to myself, I looked that up on my phone right before this movie started, and I was thinking, you know what, if that has kind of like a underground support, like, not underground support, but if that has a fan base that shows up, for instance, like the Minecraft movie, I would love to be there. Try and be home. I can't because of my job as a trucker. But if I could, I would love to be there on a Friday night when that movie opens up. It's The Back Rooms. So that's 2 or 3 coming up that maybe would be good. But I was thinking, I'm going to give The Bride a chance, even though apparently it's bombing. And it just... it leaves me less than satisfied, because you could have made this movie without the debaucherous stuff. But you know what? I take it back. I'm totally wrong. This is feminist garbage. They had to be nasty. They had to do all this stuff. Literally. There was a scene in this, and I'm thinking, Frank, you obviously, you love this wife who is like a gift from God or whatever. The mad scientist lady has obliged you after you grew on her a little bit. You got on her heart, as it were. So she finally relinquished and said, okay, I'll help you zap some corpse to life so you can have an associate, a bride. And one thing about this movie, she says, is it just sex, Frank? If it's just sex, there's got to be easier ways to get sex. At that moment, her helper lady comes into the room, into that office. She sees Frank, horrified, and runs away. So there was your commentary on just how not easy it is for Frank to get intimacy, if that's what he's after. And that's what he's after. It's like he's been decades, centuries now, alone, and he just wants a bride. He wants a wife, a helpmeet, associate, whatever, a life partner, somebody like him. And that's what endears you to Frank, to Christian Bale in this movie. And yet, Ida, I'm getting her name wrong, the part of her that remembers the kind of things that she likes, instantly is with him and goes into the alley where there's this debaucherous, but a different socioeconomic, it's like the scoundrels and poor people and alleyway freakazoid debauchery. It's not the high society, highfalutin debauchery that she was into before, apparently, as you see in the movie, as an informant, gathering up info from what these mobsters would tell her and passing it on to the cop she was working for as an informant. Literally, she goes down there, and I'm thinking, you're just going to let these guys start molesting her in this really exotic dance with the black flickering lights and the horrible music. And I kid you not, this whole thing, that whole sequence of her like underground 1930s rave party or whatever was going on in the alleyway, it was like a mixture of like a burlesque house, dance house or something, and the circus. I kid you not, that's the way these people looked. It was otherworldly. Their dress, their attire, their makeup, all the ways they were. I'm sure there was something like that back in the 1930s, but this was kind of over the top. But he finally gets in there when these guys are getting handsy with her, and like they act like they're maybe going to drag her off and abuse her. He gets her out of there. Of course, they follow him. They follow her, wanting to fight him, daring him, hitting her, hitting him, until Frank snaps and just kills both of them. I mean, crushes a skull up against the wall and then stomps one guy's head until he's all busted up and horrible. That's like the beginning of their crime spree. Instantly, Frank changes on her. It's like now he's the one who you got to worry about. It's like, oh, I've been through this before. You've got to run. You've got to get away from me. I don't want to cause any more trouble for you. And the movie just changed so abruptly. It's like there weren't good transitions in this movie. There weren't like one plot point going into the next. It just wasn't that good. I'm sorry. But since I watched the movie, I paid for the movie, I sat there for 2 hours, I reserved the right to rip this movie apart, and that's what I'm going to do. It was, oh man. What was I expecting with this movie? That's a good question. What were you expecting, David? The misunderstood story, well, not the misunderstood story, the story of Frankenstein told from more of the, what do I do since I'm not like anybody else, and to finally have a bride, an actual partner, an associate, a helpmeet, a spouse, to be joined together forever, to actually have that kind of a intimate, close friend when you've had nobody, because you're not like anybody else. You are from the dead in this case, and all that. It could have been more of an action drama instead of a horror drama. It could have been more of a horror. This movie, I don't even know how to place it really. Obviously, it has horror elements. There's action. There's drama. It has all those things, but at the same time, it's like, it's message heavy. Like I keep saying, everybody's saying this is feminist, a feminist message movie, and I'm just getting up from my seat with my Diet Pepsi, sipping from my straw here, thinking, stop letting these people make this, because they ruin it. I watched Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein a few months back, and that it was beautiful. I love that movie. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that movie in the theater. I would like to go back and watch the original Frankenstein and actually say which one I like the best from the original and the Guillermo del Toro movie, and that movie that Robert De Niro made with Kenneth Branagh some years back. Kind of rough to watch, but I already know I like Guillermo del Toro's movie better than that one, but I wonder what the original was like. I've never watched the original Frankenstein. I guess people should go back and watch that, because you just throwing in this stuff, making it in the 1930s. You could have done that. You could have done that. It didn't have to be a raunchy, quite dumb in aspects and different things of this movie. It didn't have to be this way. It really didn't have to be this way. Let's see. What are some of the things I liked? I like that. Well, actually, I can't really count that as the thing that I like. I was about to say I like how good everything looks. They've spent some money getting that 1930s aesthetic, with the cars and the clothing attire and the buildings, the look of New York. It had to be Times Square, that one scene, and just things like that. But at the same time, when you do this with it, it's like, man, I would love to make you a movie. If you would be willing to spend that kind of money, I could make you a good movie. I know I could. But instead, we get this, and this is just, I prefer not. It's The Bride. I prefer not. How many times do they say that in this movie? All I can hear as I'm watching parts of this movie is Lisa Simpson saying, "One day when I get married, I'm gonna, if I choose to get married, I'm gonna keep my own name." That kind of thing all throughout this movie. It's in the trailer, even though it's different in the movie, where she says, "The Bride of Frankenstein." She says, "No, just the bride." And then you see Mary. This is like literally the last thing in the movie. That's a good girl. That's more like it. And I'm just thinking to myself, poor Frank. I mean, poor Frank. He would have been better maybe just to walk the earth alone, because he died again, shot through the head, professing his love for this woman who's troubled in life and in death. And you know what, let me just skip anything I might like and go right to the stuff I hate about this movie. I hated the pacing, because it's like nothing was really happening. They just throw you in there with her being a real trash bag, and then the woman's narration, the dubbing, where she's talking like Mary, and it's like she's drunk and she's got Tourette's, and she's possessed. It's a possession scene, especially when it first happened. Finally, they slacked off on that, because that first 5 minutes of the movie, I'm like, this, I don't know what I'm seeing, but whatever it is, it's not being done right. I know what they're trying to do here, but it's not happening. And what kind of a part was that for, come on, I know his name. I'll put it on the screen. I can't believe his name is escaping me right now. Oh, I can't believe this. This movie breaks your brain so that you can't think. Plus, I need to be home and in the bed right now. Come on, I know his name. Mysterio, not Mysterio. Yeah, I guess his name was Mysterio. Spider-Man. All kind of... Jake Gyllenhaal. There, I remembered it. Haha. I'm good. What kind of a part was this for him? What kind of a movie was this for him? You see him in the background. He obviously put some work in making all of these 1930s song and dance routines that don't play off as being anything but just peripheral in the movie. It's like you see it in the background. Frank is obsessed with him. He admires him. He idolizes him. He says, when he actually goes up to him, removes his hat, removes his mask. You can see his scars and his staples and everything. He says, "So I credit my survival to you." And Jake Gyllenhaal's character, he's like, "Oh, sorry, fella, you're not my type." And I was thinking he might actually say something like humbling or flattering or something. But no, it's not that kind of movie. He says, "Oh, sorry, fella, you're not my type." He immediately turns to his snobby, stuck-up, tuxedo-wearing friends, sipping champagne, laughing. They all had a good laugh about that. And then there's Frank. He's kind of stepping away slightly, and he's tearing up. He's like, it's like your hero just snubbed you big time. So what is the guy supposed to do? He throws a temper tantrum, and that's when the movie goes into musical mode with all of them. It's like they all became possessed. That was the strangest part of the movie, when they all became possessed and they're dancing. And I was thinking from the trailer, what kind of... That's one of the things that actually sold me about this movie. In the trailer, when you see that, where they're having that music in the background, "Everybody dance," or whatever that thing was that they were singing, I was like, it's going to end up being Frankenstein, the bride, in a song and dance thing. How are they all dancing with the normies, the normal people? What's going to happen there? But it ends up being a kind of a possession scene. And then this is another thing that where the transition into the next part of the movie, the plot, it was just so... It just wasn't good. I'm sorry, it just wasn't good. She's pointing the gun at the cops. It's talking about how the corrupt are gonna get a message, and the dead have a message, and I'm speaking it. And it's like she knows all that these girls were, all that they went through. These girls who were hung out to dry by the cops, apparently, when the corrupt cops decided not to pursue this gangster anymore. And then the girls were just kind of left on the inside. They were all killed and had their tongues removed. And so yeah, pretty dark and sinister stuff there. It's just her knowing all of that, and that coming out of her right then at that part of the movie, and that being the next part, where the whole movie after that was she suddenly remembered that, and now it's going to be like a crusade against corruption. You're thinking, where did this come from? Where in the world did this come from? Just because she saw the guy? But there was nothing in the movie that gave you that. You, as the viewer of the movie, see, okay, obviously this detective, he knows something. You can just see from the things he's saying and the way he is and the way he interacts with the lady detective, who's the lead detective at the end. You see it as the viewer, but there's nothing in the movie really that I remember seeing that connects them. And then for her to suddenly see that, and all that to start pouring out of her about how you're all corrupt, Yeah, and then the voice, the English woman voice, is coming through again, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this could have been done better. It could have been the same movie, but actually have been better. And what drama, what powerful bits there are, especially toward the end, as Frank and Ida have gone on a little bit of a journey together and learned about each other, and they actually do love each other at the end, and then tragedy befalls them again. All this stuff could have been more powerful if it had been done better. I don't know how else to say it but that. It's like, as I've said many times in many movies, maybe the best performances, the best pacing, the Oscar-winning performances or whatever, maybe it's actually on the editing room floor, and they actually went with this version of the movie. You never know. But it's like, from what I just saw, it's like this could have at least been shorter, and it would have been better just by being shorter. But yeah, it was Feminazi, the movie, and Christian Bale, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he's taken one for the team, for the Hollywood cult, by being in this movie, probably something like that. But yeah, I just don't know. It's like, it's so irritating to me, being someone who I aspire to make movies, and you got to have a lot of money to make a decent looking film. This movie looked good. All that 1930s aesthetic, all those cars and the clothing and everything, all the actors, the money that must have went into this. It's like, man, it's painful to think about. It's like, why? You could have made the same movie. You could have made it at least better. You could have cut out you could have cut out some of that raunchiness and stuff. But no, that goes along with the feminism. It just does. The way she talked, whether she was possessed or not. And yeah, cops don't want to listen to the lady detective. I'm not the bride of Frankenstein, I'm just the bride. I'd rather not. And just, it's like, even the cop, who I'm thinking, okay, this guy's some salt of the earth guy who pulls them over because they were speeding. Nope, he tries to rape her, so Frank has to shoot him. She eats his tongue out, Frank shoots the other guy. It's like, the whole thing is this down with the man, fight the power, revolution stuff. They even have a bit, I'm like, talk about over the top. Brain attack. There are these copycat killers, these psycho-looking women who look suspiciously like the crazy blue-haired feminists you see in the streets today talking about hashtag kill all men. I mean, they look identical. They were killing people in the movie, inspired by her, by the monsters. And I was like, really, this really is something. And what else? I was about to say something else, but I lost my train of thought here. It was just a fight the power thing with all the cops. The only thing that went against that a little bit was her personal journey stuff. When she shoots the cop, and I'm thinking, you're going to make a move, aren't you, guy? There's a cop. All these cops are in that ballroom. They have their guns trained on her. And I'm thinking, in real life, this just would not go down like this, especially when she would make a sudden move. Like, they would so take her out. But one cop is going to, like, he's sneaking up. It's like, is he going to try and tackle her? No. He's just going to jump up and shoot. And this cop, he literally just kind of jumps up and says, hold it. All the cops there have already said, hold it. What are you doing, guy? And he trains his gun on her. He points his gun right at her. What, all these other that's all you're going to do? That which all these other cops are already doing? Hold it. And it, like, startles her. She looks right at him like, huh? Pow. She shoots him, and he has this expression like blank face, but like surprised, why me, Lord, expression on his face as he falls down, collapsing, dead. And she's like shocked and put off by that. It's like, then as she and Frank are running away, it's like, what have I done? That cop looks so surprised, and you're thinking, okay, is she having some epiphany now that it's not okay to shoot people? And you're thinking, okay, that's how these monsters are gonna learn life's lessons like the Terminator. Like, you just can't go around killing people. Why? You just can't, okay? After that spiel about the corrupt are going down and the message is coming from the monsters, from the dead, and I'm speaking it. It's like, okay, she's on a morality soapbox, and then she's like shocked that a policeman collapsed down dead when you shot him in the chest. It doesn't add up. It's inconsistent, folks. It's not good storytelling. But what am I even trying to accomplish at this point talking about this movie? It's like Christian Bale was there. He was so-so. Could have been better and a better movie. I don't know. He's part of why I wanted to see it. And of course there's Jake Gyllenhaal and the guy who's the detective whose name I can't remember, but I like him in a lot of stuff that I see him in. And I don't know if I've ever seen the lady before who plays the bride, but for whatever this movie is, she was certainly chewing the screen up, acting her little heart out. It's like, but I just wish, I don't know what the police or whoever is doing stuff over here, but I got a green light, so I'm just gonna mosey on through. Yeah, they're just kind of standing, blocking the road over there. Anyways, it is what it is. I wanted to give it a try. I gave it a try. And, yeah. What more can I say? I guess if there's anything else that I can think of at the end, well, they do this thing with you, which really, it's like thieving. It's like stealing. At the end, when her helper, after the shootout, after they've shot the bride to death, the cops, after the detective has come in and laid down the law, and the guy, the chief of police, like, who am I talking to? Is there a detective here? She breaks out the badge. I am the detective, and I suggest you get the man, you go arrest the man climbing down the fire escape. I have something I'd like to ask him too. Then the cops actually go and do their jobs. The mobster guy had gotten away, but you see him being arrested. And then all of the brain attack psychos have actually cornered the head mobster, who was he's a real evil guy. He could just kill one of his underlings like it ain't nothing and then go right back to eating his dinner. It was that kind of a scene in this movie. So he was hardcore. It's like you get the idea they're about to take him out at the end, but you're just thinking to yourself, this is so cartoonish. It's like in real life, this doesn't happen. This is literally a feminist dream. It's like if a feminazi just had a cocktail napkin and a pen and just wrote down stuff bullet point by bullet point, like a stream of consciousness. That's the way the scientist lady talked at the very end of this movie. I kid you not. When she's going on about her husband, how they loved one another. They were scientists. Then he died, and she brought him back. But he was kind of off, kind of odd. So she had to put him down like a dog, because that's what a man is, just an accoutrement. And you can discard him whenever you like. The bride, Edith, she said, well, I'm kind of off. Maybe you should put me down. Then she goes back to talking more about the experiment, how we wanted, I forget what word she used, an asymmetric geometry or some such junk. We wanted to see what it would look like. Okay, so you really are mad scientists. Edith says, well, what does it look like? And she says, it looks like you. And then the cops burst in and shoot her to death. And then the scientist lady and her underling, she says to her, we're going to need to sleep. We're going to need a lot of sleep or something like that. And she looks at her and she says, I really prefer not. That's like the last line of the movie. And then as the stuff's going on outside with the one mobster guy who was about to get away is arrested, and as the lady detective is admiring her badge, and it's like case closed, like we got him, like book 'em Dano, that kind of moment with some good music happening. It turns into this thing where they look up because they hear some noise happening, and this blue light is just exploding out of the tower of this building where the mad scientist lady is. And keep in mind, this is in a city, right in the middle of a city where this lab is, the secret lab or whatever. And you see the blue light, the glow, and the shock, and throw the main switch and all that. And you see them kind of holding hands at the end, Frank and Ida, like they come back to life on the table there, and they're like holding hands. That's why I say it's like stealing. You're getting in this like heartwarming moment, like a good ending after all this junk. And that's what I call it, stealing. It's like it's unearned. Like unearned. Like, you're not going to get away with that. And then just start playing Monster Mash. I can still remember at least a half hour of this movie that just should not have been in here. Or at least 15 minutes. This felt like a long run time. And again, one of my biggest problems, apart from the debauchery stuff, is the pacing and how not altogether disjointed, but just how the transitions didn't really flow well in this movie. It's like, okay, we're here now, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how we got here. It's like, again, it's feminist messaging, so it's all about ideological bullet points, and that as long as you keep that in mind, this movie will make perfect sense to you. It's like, if you imagine what such a movie would be like, this is what that movie would be like. Where, oh, now we're here and now we're here. No explanation for how we got here. It's just the next thing. And so go with it. Anyway, I've gone on for long enough. 36 minutes, 37 minutes. That's horrendous. If I can think of anything more, folks, I'll throw it on this review. Thanks for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed The Bride if you watched it. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care, and keep on keeping on. Thanks.